Hi guys, my name is Tanya Alves. I'm the VP Commercial here at On Afrique.
My name is Tola, Head of Sales at Kura.
My name is Taha Jiwaji. I'm the founder and CEO of Beam.
I currently head product growth and partnerships at Credit Direct.
I'm Jemima Louise, the Head of Marketing and Communications at Fincra.
My name is Triza Mora, and I am the Regional Growth Marketing and Corporate Communications Manager at InterSwitch. I'm responsible for East Africa.
So my name is Jocelyn, and I am part of the team at a company called Startup Bootcamp Afritech.
My name is Dakpo. I'm a startup partner at Paystack.
My name is Sheb Andele. I'm co-founder and CEO at PayHR.
My name is Kirill Gertman. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Conduit.
Hi, my name is Olushola Amuson. I'm co-founder and CEO at Vesti.
Hi, my name is Chad Pollock. I'm the Vice President and General Manager for Visa East Africa, based here in Nairobi, Kenya.
I am Mariano Chola. I'm the Managing Director for Endeavor in Kenya. We are a network of high-growth tech founders.
My name is Frank Mola, the Managing Director for MDP.
So my name is Emmanuel Sapo Odro. I'm the Managing Director of MDP Ghana, West Africa.
My name is Ebenezer Gania around WeWire.
Still from Founders Connect, and we're live at the African Fintech Summit, where we're interviewing African founders, operators, and investors that are key players in the African tech ecosystem. I mean, we can have a conglomeration of founders and operators of this caliber and not have to do a story. So we just spent some time to talk to a couple of these investors and founders and see what is happening in the African fintech space right now.
Kura is a Pan-African payment solution provider for Africa. We literally connect Africa with the rest of the world, connect Africa within itself, provide payment solutions for Africa.
Beam is a Pan-African cloud communications platform. We enable businesses to create lasting relationships with their customers for sales, marketing, and authentication over SMS, USSD, and now chat across 25 African markets.
So at Fincra, we're solving the payment challenges for businesses. So what we see today is that for you to be able to send and receive payments across different borders and different currencies is incredibly hard, especially when there is no infrastructure to power that. So that's what we're really doing here. We're building the infrastructure to ensure that businesses, individuals are able to send and receive payments across seamlessly. And it's also tied to our vision, which is to enable businesses to send and receive payments as easy as sending a text message. So very much.
InterSwitch has been in the market for over 20 years. We actually pride ourselves as one of Africa's fintech giants. And of course, as we started off, we were a payments enabling company. But now over the years, we've been able to diversify our business. And so we are a tech company and we enable across different sectors. We enable in the social services sector. We enable in the healthcare space. We also do that in the transport sector and also the energy sector. And so we work very closely with banks, we work with corporate, we work with the MSMEs, we work with governments. We also work with the mobile money operators and telcos across Africa.
PayHR is two things, really. At the front, it is HR technology, HR software for the modern world of work. And then behind it, it's really a global bank for the African workforce, right? So basically, employers are able to manage, hire, do all the stuff that you need to do in HR with, really good, easy to use software, very flexible, bends to so many scenarios. And then behind, a big part of what we do is payroll. Now we've built out banking, sort of like global banking. People say the future of work is global, right? But it's no longer the future, it's really now. You can be in Nigeria and work for a company in Kenya. You can be in Kenya and, and all of that. So we're powering the banking that helps all of those people get paid wherever they are.
On Afrique is Africa's largest payment gateway. We've been doing business on the continent for the past 14 years. We are an omni-channel payment gateway that supports interoperability, supporting remittance, enterprise use cases, agent networking, as well as card services for businesses across the continent.
If you're a business and you need to transact cross-border, whether that's between Africa and Asia, between Africa and the United States, today it's costly, it's slow, and it's inefficient, right? So if you're going to your local bank and you're sending a SWIFT, that can take you 3, 4, 5, we've seen as much as 7 days for the money to actually land on the other side. You're paying, maybe $20, $30, $40 for the privilege of just being able to send the wire. You're locked into the bank's effects, so you have no negotiation there. And on top of that, you don't have any visibility to what happens to your funds while they're en route. And so what we're doing instead, we're connecting, local rails in everywhere we operate. So again, for example, in Brazil it will be Pix. In Africa, it's going to be local rails as well. Into local rails on the other side, right? So that would be Hong Kong, Singapore, China, etc. Or in the US, it would be ACH, Fedwire, etc. Right? So we connect them directly, and the business can transact very quickly in a matter of minutes, much cheaper, and you have complete visibility into what's going on with your funds.
Bestie is the company that helps people move anywhere on the planet. We're a migration fintech with over 200,000 users, aspiring to help 1 billion immigrants transition to new countries and be able to not just move themselves and their families, but also be able to move their finances.
Business here in East Africa spreads across 13 countries, including the traditional East Africa nations, also including the Indian Ocean Islands, all the way up to Djibouti and Somalia. We have the full spectrum of maturity when you look at payments landscape. We have many deep partnerships across regulatory landscape, fintechs, and we're deeply interested and invested in evolving the ecosystem here in East Africa.
Endeavor has been around 26 years globally, but in Kenya, we've only been here for 6 years. And this is the first time we're actually also expanding into the region. We're working with companies in Uganda, in Tanzania, in Ethiopia as well.
So MDP is a payment processor. We like to call ourselves the payment processor of the future, but we're here for the present. And the reason we say this is because we've harmonized the 3 verticals in payments. We've harmonized card production, we've harmonized card personalization, and we've also harmonized payment processing in today's economy. Now, what we've essentially done with that is that we have also introduced the digital payments infrastructure. And that is what a lot of our customers and banks are excited about.
We will help businesses with cross-border payments, so moving money from the African market to outside of Africa, from outside Africa to Africa, between African markets.
We are Pan-African Tech Accelerator, having scaled over 70 companies in the past 4 or 5 years.
Paystack is a payment infrastructure. We provide payment APIs, SDKs, and all of different developer tools that enables businesses of different sizes to accept payments and disburse payments at scale. Awesome.
Yeah, so if you think of Africa, and I always like saying this, Africa is not a monolithic continent, right? We have close to 54 countries in Africa, and anybody who wants to come into Africa, the first thing you need to appreciate is their regions, their blocks as a start. You'll hear there's SADC, there is East Africa, there is French speaking, so you really need to understand first, how do you break down these blocks? And then beyond those blocks, you need to go further into country specific, because context is important. And why do we believe that context is important as MDP? Number one is because, come to Kenya, for example, it's known to be the cradle for fintech. It's where mobile money is known. Everybody knows about M-Pesa. So in a way, any conversation you're having, chances are somebody's gonna bring up an M-Pesa conversation, and you need to be ready for that. Think about South Africa. I mean, it's another country where you have over 50 million cards in the market. So look at the scenario. Kenya, over 50 million mobile subscribers in M-Pesa. South Africa, over 50 million cards, right? So if I come to Kenya with the thinking of South Africa, I'm not gonna make it. So that's why there's importance in understanding the local context. But then let's take a bit of a step into West Africa, that is Nigeria. I always tend to think that Nigeria, people innovate not for the sake of innovation, but they innovate because of trust. And you really have to embed yourself, localize whatever it is you're doing in Nigeria for you to be able to win. So local context in each and every other country, you must go to the grassroots to really understand them. And that's what we continue doing as MDP.
A lot of people outside Africa do not understand the payment space in Africa. And the payment space in Africa is peculiar to Africans.
One, we partner with a lot of mobile operators in each market. And then we have local teams in each of the markets that we work in to really localize our solutions and to get product market fit for that market, right? Because it's very easy to create one thing and think it will work for everywhere, but it doesn't. And so that's what really helps us localize it.
For us, partnership is very, very key. So we partner with banks, payment institution, financial institution, for us to be able to offer these services and offer this solution to businesses and individuals, right? We're able to, by partnering with them, we're able to, go through across the hurdles that businesses always find challenging.
Africa is super fragmented. Africa is 54 countries. Africa is 54 governments. Africa is 54 regulators. And so you have to deal with 54 central banks. All right. In these 54 markets, there are 54 different types of people with different culture, right? Different ways of paying. And so payment is super fragmented. And so when we think of our job as Paystack, we think a very big part of our job is to aggregate these fragmented methods and culture of paying into one single API and provide it to businesses that wish to find easy ways to accept payments in those markets. Yeah.
I know you're enjoying this video and learning a lot about the African fintech space. I am too, but pause. We have business to discuss. You know those viral tweets where people share the stories of how they made their first million? I think it's very fascinating to see the different paths that people take. But the ones that truly resonate with me are the stories of founders and creators who share stories that highlight how they built from scratch. And it's because as someone who is on that journey myself, turning Founders Connect from a passion project to a serious media business, I know firsthand how challenging that can be. It's a whole different ballgame when you're trying to monetize sustainably and create consistent revenue streams. I realized that starting was the easy part, but growing is a different story. Damn, it's hard, and I know it's something that every entrepreneur or creator can relate with. And so over the last few months, I've spent countless hours and many late nights trying to search for knowledge and tools that can help me navigate this new terrain. And that's how I found my first million business monetization playbook by HubSpot. This playbook is great because it is from the My First Million hosts, Sam and Shan. So it's not about making that first check, that first million. It's about building the foundation for long-term success. In this playbook, you'll find proven strategies from industry experts that have been there and done that. You'd also find actionable steps that you can implement immediately, regardless of what stage your business is in. Also, case studies from real companies and business owners that have achieved sustainable growth, and tailored advice for businesses of all sides, from startups to established enterprises, from creators who are trying to turn their hobby to business, to people who are building a tech startup. Everybody, there's something for you. And so, if you're a founder or you're a creator and you're looking to take your business to the next level and really figure out monetization, this playbook is for you. The best part, it is absolutely free, like this channel. One of my favorite sessions of this playbook is Play 1, the part 1, the optimized pricing strategies. It dives into different ways that you can price, so tiered pricing, dynamic pricing, values-based pricing. It basically talks about how business owners can maximize revenue by aligning your pricing to customer perceived value. I think it's fantastic. And so, if you're a founder or you're a creator and you really want to take your business to the next level, I think you should download this playbook. The best part is, it is completely free, no catch. All you have to do to access it is click the link in the description below and you can download it straight away. It's free, straightforward. This resource was made by HubSpot. Shout out to them for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back to African Fintech.
See, the beauty about technology is that it's not geographically limited. And I think for any fintech company, we power across the world, globally. We enable payments across the world. We physically have offices in Africa. We have, of course, Nigeria, where we have our headquarters. We're in Gambia. We are in Kenya. We are also in Uganda. We also have an office in Germany. And how we've been able to, I think, what I'd say is the diversity of our solutions really makes it very easy for us to be able to provide solutions that are suitable for the markets that we operate in.
So how we adapt to local challenges in different markets that we operate in is by going to the markets, setting up locally, hiring local people who understand and get us the local context for us to be able to thrive in that market. So we just don't go in, for context, I come from Ghana. The business started in Ghana, but we've expanded to markets like Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and all these places. We've entered the market, set up locally. We are even in Francophone Africa, in Cameroon, where we have a person on the ground will help us understand the market more and understand the business needs of the people in that market.
So being an omni-channel and a payments omni-channel on the continent, we are both an equalizer and an amplifier when it comes to access to payment rails, no matter where you are on the continent. We're driven by a motto to make borders matter less. So it means whether you're in Eswatini or Nigeria, we want you to be able to access payment rails that allows you to receive money seamlessly and for you to be able to make payments seamlessly. And through that, we've been able to integrate to 180 mobile network operators and banks to kind of cover those rails. We're also a Visa principal license holder and we work with MasterCard when it comes to prepaid cards. We have an agent network of over 400,000, mostly within Nigeria to cover that part of the segment. And of course, we work with different enterprises across the continent that need to access collections and disbursements via mobile money. So we have access to all those rails and all of that is available to all of our customers using one integration, and it's essentially a one-stop shop, and that covers whatever market you're in, whatever part of the continent you're in, you should be able to make and receive payments through us.
Local context is really important, but as a company that helps people move from source countries to destination countries, it's important we understand the nuances of every single country. So basically, we use artificial intelligence, people skills, the power of scale to be able to move to every country, localize our context. We work with partners locally, and more importantly, we hire locals to be able to help us understand the local context. As people who grew up on the African continent, it made sense to start from Africa, even though we're launching in Dallas, Texas. And so we basically started launching from Nigeria to Ghana, places moving from the familiar to the unfamiliar, and gradually scaling like that. Today, it's a different ball game. We corporate, excellence. We're now hiring in those countries that we might not even have a personal connection to. For example, we're launching in Singapore, India, and these are countries where we don't come from, but we find organizations that look like ours with similar culture, and potentially we hire from some of those kind of talent pools, and maybe in the future even do mergers and acquisitions that enable us to be able to, sort of localize even further.
So what we see here in East Africa is that we have a deep card penetration outside of mobile money. Everyone knows East Africa is the home of mobile money. However, when you start to layer that in with traditional card networks and the services we provide, we've been deepening on the contactless lens. So if you're here in Kenya, if you're in Mauritius, you see a lot of people tapping and going. I've heard the term tap, tap, tap. That's really where we're evolving the ecosystem to. We're also looking to deeply building the foundations of the ecosystem, making sure that risk and fraud identity services are ubiquitous, looking at cybersecurity. So for us, it's about ecosystem security and convenience here in East Africa.
We are very big on the ethos, the YC ethos of building something that people want, right? So we don't like to think of ourselves, or we don't build solution in search of problems. We build the things that people are asking us for. And so historically, right from 2019, when the market started changing in Nigeria, a lot of businesses wanted payment methods that were bank transfer based. And so we invested a lot of product and engineering resources into building those types of products and integrating it online and offline. It is that same method that we are also taking, where we see a lot of businesses, fintech, people doing credit, lending, asking us to give them a way to actually directly debit people's accounts. And so we've taken that cue, we've launched direct debit, bank direct debit at Paystack, and a lot of businesses are currently using that right now. We've seen a lot of adoption. We've also given businesses a platform to accept payment offline without necessarily paying for hardware. We launched Paystack Virtual Terminal, which is a software that can produce an offline interface that you can use to accept payments through any payment methods, right? And so in that same line, we pay attention to the businesses and the customers, because we are a merchant-focused business with very strong consumer affinity. So we think in that direction as well. Yeah.
We exist because there's a lot of fragmentation, and that fragmentation is going to continue to increase. So some of the technologies that are coming, WhatsApp is becoming very, very popular, and we're seeing a lot of demand. But also a lot of people don't know that RCS is coming as a technology. That's something Google is coming out with as a competitor to WhatsApp. And it's going to be a real game changer when it comes to interactive communication, which is what we're really excited about, enabling businesses online.
I think for us, we're really driven by financial inclusion. We want to make borders matter less when it comes to payments. And so we're really focused on ensuring that within the next 5 years, we are connected to we have payment rails in every single African country to ensure that no matter where you are on the continent, you're going to be able to be served. And beyond that, we want to make sure that it's not just a remittance use case that is enabled, that across all of those different countries, whether you're a business or whether you're a person trying to receive money from a loved one or for a business, that we have the payment rails to enable that. So that's enterprise payments, making sure that we have card services that are live, to be able to, and that's, I think, our commitment to intra-Africa trade. We understand that there's so much money flowing between countries, and in order to enable that, there's different use cases that need to be enabled. And so over the next 5 years, it's every single African country, it's every single use case that we currently have to be live with all those markets in order to make sure that borders do matter less.
Today, there are about 272 million people, nearly 300 immigrants who live in a country other than where they were born. So think about the journey of MySpace. MySpace had about 80 million users at its peak. Facebook, our Meta platforms, has about 3 billion users today. Once you remove the barriers that make people connect, you essentially would have higher potential. I made that comparison because today we have 300 million immigrants all around the world, but with Vesti removing the barriers and simplifying it further, like the story of MySpace and Meta, you'd essentially see that there could be 1 billion immigrants. So we're removing the barriers and we're exploring an opportunity in a world where humans are connected. Every year, over 26 million people are on the move for work, moving to a new country, and we believe that number could be 260 million per year by the year 2030 with Vesti. So our ambition is actually to be the go-to provider of legal and financial services to these immigrants by the year 2030, 1 billion of them. We really believe that removing the barriers would help us to tackle that opportunity, and that provides both a commercial opportunity and an opportunity to make massive impact in the world and on the continent as a whole.
So for the next 10 years, what I see across payments landscape in East Africa and on the continent, we start to see the ubiquity of contactless payments. I mentioned it before. The contactless is huge in markets like Kenya and Mauritius, but we'll really start to see that evolve in other places. We'll also start to see more convenience start to emerge through new form factors. Typically, people are used to using a card. We hope to see more phone penetration. Apple Pay is already in South Africa, but we look to see expansion of that here in East Africa, which will also add to the convenience that consumers will experience.
So we've gone through a couple of waves, which I think are really going to inform what the next 5 to 10 years look like. If you take Kenya as an example, the undersea cables, the innovation of M-Pesa, so a lot of innovations that were built, on top of M-Pesa to power payments, to power e-commerce. But what happens is innovations create new problems to be solved. So now we're talking about customer experience, we're talking about insurance, we're talking about hospitality. So I think what we will see is a lot more diversity in the types of innovations that are coming out of this market. Then the second thing that we will see is, for a very long time, we've also been relying on foreign capital. And foreign capital is great because there's quantum and there's exposure to the globe, but it also lacks that local contextualization. So we'll see a blend of local capital starting to come into the innovation space, because a VC asset class continues to prove itself to local capital. So I think what we're talking about is more resilience, diversity in innovation, and a lot more coming out of our market for those who believe.
So if you look at the array of solutions that we have, we play from card production to card personalization. We have digital products, we have processing, and we have analytics. But let me just touch a bit on the card production side. We are moving into sustainability. And a number of times I've had people talking about there's no future for cards. Guys, let me tell you, I had this narrative 15 years ago when I was at a conference in New York. Today I'm in Nairobi at the African Fintech conference, and cards are still here and cards are still growing. But then how are we doing it in a sustainable manner? So we have cards that are eco-friendly. And this is how we are also contributing to sustainability and impact at the same time. But separate from that, we understand that fintechs need a home. Fintechs need a place. They need a source where they feel trusted. And as MDP, one of the things that we continue to do is to enable fintechs across Africa to make payments easily, faster, and more importantly, affordable.
we're going to see a lot more, hopefully, inter-African operability, because I think even being a newcomer, I've been already surprised at the fact that how difficult it is to actually transact between Kenya and Nigeria. It's quite complex, right? So I think there's going to be local solutions that will come and solve this. I think there will be solutions like us that will come and solve the international rails. So Africa, US, Africa, Asia, and so on. I think that's Africa, LATAM as well. And I think that there's not really a lot of trade that's happening today between Africa and LATAM, but I think the potential is there, right? Because there are goods being manufactured in both sides, and they just don't have capability to trade. And I think that's something that's going to happen as well. And I think hopefully, finally, regulation, right, needs to catch up in some sense, and hopefully also be a little bit more stable and be a little bit more harmonized, I would say, across different countries, different regions, right? Because right now there's too many differences. It's you know, I mean, it's hard to operate in a bunch of companies.
One of the biggest success that we have is, so when you are in, whether you're in fintech, you're in payment space, one thing is you are also creating a good enabling environment for people. You are improving quality of lives, and that's something that we also value so much in Quora, right? Recently, we partnered with the government, Lagos State government, through another partner, providing payment solutions for all the hospitals, right? The teaching hospitals in Lagos State. So, you know, a lot of people have health needs, they have health concerns, and trying to make payments even for those, maybe for their surgery, or they want to pay for drugs or for tests could be quite difficult. And that's one thing we've been able to do. Also, opening it up. A lot of Nigerians are in diaspora all over the world, in the UK, Canada, America. People could pay, you could pay for maybe your mother's eye surgery right from the UK using Quora payment method. And that's something that we'll be able to create, providing better lives, giving people good health. And yeah, I think it's a very good success story for us that I'm very proud of, yeah.
For every solid fintech that you see in either Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, Africa, we are the infrastructure behind their solution and their payment. So that's why we do B2B2C, in that we're able to power these fintechs that you probably already know. I will not be mentioning names, but they are, you know, able to provide these services because they build on our infrastructure. And of course, we've processed like, you know, billions and billions and billions, right?
Earlier this week, we actually just announced our partnership with the Consumer Credit Scheme of the federal government of Nigeria as the first financial institution partner. So we would be helping them in their mandate to provide credit to 500,000 Nigerians. And for us, we've gotten the first pool of funds to be deployed to 15,000 government workers across the federal government and state governments.
Being a Pan-African technology company, we do have, and our bragging right actually is VAV. It's a Pan-African domestic card scheme. We have over 70 million card holders across the continent. And we have also provided, of course, the same proposition for the VAV card. In East Africa, we issue with banks, we issue with SACCOs, we also issue with fintechs across Africa. We do that in Kenya, we do that in Uganda, we also do that in Nigeria. So I can say, you know what, if you were thinking about InterSwift, there's VAV. But also more importantly, we've been able to develop and curate solutions that are good for governments in the social services sector, in the healthcare sector, and even in the transport, where we've enabled technology-driven transport solutions. I can say we are over 70 million VAV cards across Africa, and also the solutions that we have with the different governments across the continent.
You know, every month, you know, businesses in Nigeria, you know, send and receive over 1 trillion naira on Paystack. Yeah, so that's something that shows the sheer scale that we are attaining. It shows the importance that we are beginning to have in the Nigerian economy. It shows how much businesses trust our infrastructure. And yeah, that's something that we don't take for granted at all.
So I think the recent success we've had as a business is our team we have been able to put together. So right now we're a team of 30 people who are always trying to solve problems for businesses, which is we look at the pain point the business goes through. We just don't offer FX solutions or payment solutions. We will offer treasury services. So which means that sitting down with businesses to understand their business flows, to understand when they need funds and how best we can be able to provide the liquidity for them at a cheaper price. So that is, I believe, the biggest milestone we are now. We've also launched an invoicing solution, which helps businesses to invoice from their local currency to businesses globally, and businesses can also pay from their local currency or from dollar, euro, GBP, and they receive their main money in their local currency.
Early this year, we launched earned wage access for Nigerian employees. It has grown in leaps and bounds, grown about 2,000% from January to now. At January, we were disbursing less than ₦1 million. Now we disburse about 50 million in a singular month. And it's zero default, right? These employees, they just want access to their money whenever they need it, right? So that's one of the things. We've also now launched foreign currency payouts. So employers can, pay their employees, and those employees can change those monies to currencies that they prefer. So it's kind of like choosing what you want to be paid in now. So it's no longer a question of, can my employer pay me in dollars? They can pay you in whatever currency, and you can decide to receive it in whatever currency that you prefer.
So we had a really big milestone that we announced last night. So Honorific is actually partnering with Circle, one of the biggest USDC partners in the space. So we're actually partnering with them, and that is something that's going to be going live over the next couple of weeks. For us, this is a huge partnership in terms of opening up Africa, not just within the different countries, but also to the rest of the world and to other markets. More recently, we have also had full coverage in Ethiopia, which is one of the biggest, I would say, sleeping giants on the continent right now. There's a lot of opportunity that's there, and we're very proud that we've got very strong partnerships with M-Pesa, with Telebir, and some of the other growing fintechs to be able to serve that market. And just opening up that node allowed us to increase our access or connectivity to 30 million more mobile money wallets. So I don't know how much bigger it gets than that, but that's something that I know that we're very proud of. Yeah.
So we've come to the end of the video. Please like, share, and subscribe if you want more event coverage from the Founders Connect team, and we'll see you at the next event.